right, it's freezing, so we're gonna do this really fast. Do you wanna know how to take that nice photo of somebody with that blurry, dreamy background? Well, here are 3 things that you have to do to get that effect. All right, we've got our gorgeous model Samantha here and our incredible makeup artist Anna, and we're just gonna get started because it's really cold. All right, number 1, or I should say not the thing you should do, it's a mistake that a lot of people make, is that they start off and they think, ooh, pretty background, let's put the model right next to the background. All right, so let's see what that looks like. All right, just getting a basic exposure here. My exposure, by the way, is probably not going to change throughout this whole thing. So right now we are at ISO 125, 320th of a second on a shutter, and I'm going to have you step all the way right next to the background. And I'm going to make all the mistakes at once. Actually, can you give me the 24 millimeter? Let's start with all the mistakes at once, and then you can see how we deal with them all together. So I'm actually going to start with my 24 millimeter lens on my Canon 1DX. You can take that. All right, and I have my subject, Samantha, right next to the background. And I'm going to change my settings. And my settings are going to be f8, yay, ISO 500, and shutter 100. Now, this actually isn't the worst picture I've ever taken in the world, but we don't have that blurry background. Now these pictures are cute, but I'm not getting a blurry background, and there's 3 reasons why. Number 1, if you want that blurry background, you need your subject to stand far away from it. And this goes for whether you want this all blurred out or you want to have them in front of a, God forbid, a gazebo or some kind of bridge. Make it blurry, don't make them a part of it. They are not a piece of furniture in the gazebo. You want to have it be a background. So you're gonna take a couple steps forward. Now, as she comes forward, I'm looking at the way that the light is hitting her face and her hair. So we've got nice, even light on her face and the background. That's really important to just making this process easy. And the lighting is actually really nice, but again, we don't have a blurry background. There are 2 other things that we can do. So number 1 was move away from the background. Number 2 is I'm going to change to my lens. Let's go back to the 50. So a longer focal length is going to help blur the background. So let's go ahead and take a couple of photos like this with the 50, not changing my settings. All right, still not quite getting the look I'm going for. We're a little overexposed too, so I'm gonna go up to 160th of a second. Now I'm gonna go to my 135 lens. Even more compression, or perspective of compression. So I put my 135 lens on, which means I need to back up quite a bit here. And let's take a couple of shots. All right, but I'm still at f8. The aperture is the last thing you need to be considering when you want to make a blurry background. So number 1, subject away from the background. Number 2, longer lens. Number 3 is lower your aperture. Now I can lower my aperture on this lens all the way to 2.0, and I'm gonna do that so that I can lower my ISO to 100, and then my shutter speed is gonna go up to 400. So now let's take a couple of pictures. Perfect. Now we've got a beautiful, soft background, nice and blurry. Now let me frame this up exactly how I'd be photographing it. I would bring in my reflector because I want to give her a little bit of angle on the light, little catch light. So right about, let's do this side so the camera guys don't get mad, right there. And let's take some shots. So we got a ton of pictures here. We've got a lot where we've got a beautiful soft blurry background, and it is very nice, by the way, to have the sun coming from behind to get that little bit of flare as well. So those are the 3 things you need to effectively do to create that look of a nice, crisp, clean subject with a beautiful, dreamy, blurry background. Distance from background, nice long lens, and lower aperture for a more shallow depth of field. Hit subscribe, ring my bell, stick around, we got lots more coming.